Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here today at Book Blather. I'm Dave, this is Olive, and we talk about books of all types that we've read or acquired recently to help spread the joy of reading. Now, the last time we mentioned we were pretty backed up on both book haul videos and book reviews. We have a bunch we're still trying to get to, so today we're doing one of the book hauls. We have a couple places we've run to recently, but we think we're going to keep them, we get too much at each one, so we'll keep them separate. So today we're going to do our most recent one. We went to a couple library sales recently, but that's not what this is. Recently, I mean, in the last year, you've all heard us talk about our latest greatest discovery, which is that Goodwills have book sections, and they're super cheap. And so we've hit two that we found relatively near to us. But, you know, there's not a lot of turnover in these Goodwills, so we can only hit them like so many times in a certain amount of time. But they're great sources to find because the only rule there is, at least the Goodwills around us, the only rule is if it's a paperback, it's $1, and if it's a hardcover, it's $2. Doesn't matter what it is or how nice it is. That seems to be the only rule. And every once in a while, they're discounted even from that. They're like half price from that. I don't know how it works. They like have a different color sticker or something. So anyway, we had gone to those two a number of times near us, but the other day, this was just a few days ago, I had to get my Jeep inspected, and I'm not usually over in that area, and I'm driving the way home, and on the way home, I see one. I'm like, whoa, there's another Goodwill I've never seen before. So of course we had to stop and check out the book section, and it was the best one of the three so far that we've seen. Some good finds there. So, and we'll get into it now, but actually the best find that we were most excited about wasn't even a book. But we'll do the books first. So the first thing is, recently you've seen some of our recent videos, something that we just started getting into was manga. We had never tried that until, I don't know, about a month ago. It was the first time we tried it. And one of the particular manga people that we've enjoyed and started reading is Junji Ito, who does the horror manga. And so, I mean, I swear to God, we go to these things and it's like must be like some booktube gods that are like watching over us because we keep getting like ridiculously lucky and finding things that we wanted at the time anyway. So we go in there and sitting there on the shelf is this. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Uzumaki, but this is a popular book, Junji Ito. You can see it's huge. It's like brand new. This normally in the store is $28, and it was $2 there because it's a hardcover. That's their only rule. So I couldn't believe this was sitting there on the shelf. Like, this is like what we're reading right now. It's the Junji Ito stuff. So we were very excited to find this beautiful volume for $2. Okay, now the next one is, we picked up this. This is Jovas Angel by Sharon, Shinn. And so this is a fantasy novel, mostly fantasy. I guess maybe you could call it a little sci-fi fantasy. We picked this up because many years ago we had read this book by Sharon Shinn, Archangel. And this came out in the 90s, and I think we read it like around then. It was a long time ago we read this. And this was about there's this world. What was the name of the world? I don't remember. Oh, Samaria, and different people lived on this world. The angels and mortals, and so the people lived here together. And it was like overseen by this ship, Jovah, that circles around the planet. And one of these, Saint Gabriel, is supposed to be made like the next archangel, but in order to become the next archangel, he has to marry a mortal woman who was like a slave, from what I recall. And so, I mean, it was kind of a romance fantasy, but I'm not normally into romances, but I do remember liking this very much, and it got a lot of accolades at the time. And so, and I think this was before this sort of angel fantasy stuff was really popular. And so I remember really liking it. I don't know, tastes have maybe changed now. It was a long time ago, but I do remember really enjoying it then. So this is a sequel. And so that's why we picked this up. Okay, this one's set like I think it returns to that planet like 150 years in the future. So anyway, so that's why we got it. Okay, next we have, so we are going to be participating, co-hosting this Garb August event that Criminali does in August, where the theme of the BookTube event is to read trashy books. So another thing we found at this Goodwill was a classic trashy book, later Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. So this is old, but this is the unexpurgated 1928 edition. So what this book is about is generally it's a scandalous story about a woman of like an upper station that is in like not a great marriage and starts an affair with a man of a lower station. He's like the groundskeeper, the gardener or something. And so very, very, I guess, very erotic and scandalous and explicit. And so there was a lot, early on, it caused a lot of hoopla, and a lot of it was censored. So this, I don't even know how to pronounce that, but unexpurgated 1928 Orioli edition. Apparently, I'll get to read like all the sordid prose. So we were excited to find this for Garb August. Another thing we found for Garb August was one of the categories is, one of the options is novelizations. So we found this old Star Trek, the motion picture by Gene Roddenberry, who was the creator of Star Trek. And so he wrote this book based on the movie. And we love Star Trek. We've never read any Star Trek books, but we love the shows, and we watch all these shows. So this will be our first Star Trek book. So we're pretty excited to actually be able to read this for our Garb August. Okay, next we found... Okay, so this is a little more serious book. This is Reading Lolita in Tehran. This is by Azar Nafisi. So this is a memoir. I'm trying to remember when I don't remember when this came out. Let me find it real quick. This looks like it was 2003. So I had heard about this in the past and was interested in it, just never followed up. This is about this. So this is a memoir of a teacher that when she retires, teacher in Iran, that when she retires, she at great risk invites like her 7 best students to come to her house like every week to discuss literature in secret. You know, like Lolita and The Great Gatsby and Henry James and I don't know, I don't remember who else. But so to discuss some of this, prohibited literature, and supposedly it's a great book about the power of literature to change lives. And so, it sounds really interesting. We actually might read this very soon. If you've read this, well, as with always, we want to hear if you've read these books. But if you've read this and have any thoughts on it, let us know. Okay, all right. The next one we picked up was this perfect edition, looks brand new, of Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. So this is a horror sci-fi. We actually read this last year, but we did not have our own print copy of this. So we saw this perfect hardcover copy, $2, so we got it. This was, so like I said, we read it last year, so we did review it. I'll try to link that video below if you're interested. So, but very, very briefly, this was about a ship, like a luxury ship carrying a lot of celebrities and things and famous people, and it goes missing. And then like 20 years later, it shows up again. The salvage crew is there, so they try. It's a great find, could bring them a lot of money. So they try to go, grab this ship, this ghost ship. And so when they board, I don't think it's a spoiler. Everybody's dead, of course. Nobody's heard from the ship for 20 years, and a lot of creepy things happen. So the book was pretty good. It was, I think I rated like 4 out of 5 stars or something. It was the ending, the payoff was slightly disappointing. It wasn't a great payoff at the end, but it was a it was an enjoyable book tour. This book was more about the journey than about the ending. So it was definitely a lot of creepiness, and it was a cool experience, the book. So wasn't our favorite, but it was pretty decent. So enough that we wanted to get the print copy of it. So, but if you want to know more about it, I'll try to remember to link that video where we reviewed this book last year. Okay, then we found this nice copy of Sense and Sensibility, classic by Jane Austen. And we picked this up, like a lot of these, we have these classics, we have the Penguin Classic version of it. But this was a nice Everyman's Library edition, and so really, these are pretty nice. At least we think they're really nice. So super cheap. So we picked this up. Okay, next one is we're almost done here. So the next one is Slade House by David Mitchell. And this came out like early 2015, 2016, something like that. And this has been on our extended TBR for a while now, because we had heard somebody talk about it 2015. Yeah. And wait, yeah. Okay. And so this one, what this is about, we don't know too much about it, but so apparently there's like an alley next to an old pub, and down the alley there's like this hidden door which leads to the Slade House, which is this like mysterious place where some people every so many years somebody new will get invited to join the house, and so different people live there, and apparently once you first enter you don't want to leave, and then you can't leave. And like I said, every so many years the residents invite somebody new to the house. So it sounded pretty interesting and mysterious. So like I said, on our TBR for a while, so we grabbed this. We might read this one soon too, but is another one I'd be particularly interested in to hear if any of you have read this and have any opinions on this, and if we should like read it soon. So okay, and then the last book, and we have, like I said, we have a non-book thing, but the last book is this. This is an ARC copy of Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman. And this is, billed as like for fans of Paul Tremblay and Grady Hendrix. And this is about, again, don't know too much about it, but I had heard of this one before. This is about, I think, a girl that springs her boyfriend out of rehab, and he ends up dying, and he apparently had a drug that enabled you to see dead people, and so she tries this drug, and I think then starts seeing things, and it's a question of what is it, just the pharmacological effects of the drug, or is she seeing dead people? And sounded pretty nice and creepy. So I had seen, I forget what the cover looked like. The real cover obviously looked different than this. This is the art copy, but so I was pretty excited to find. I always get excited when I find art copies of books, just because obviously they're harder to find. So anyway, okay, and then the last thing that we got there was not a book, and this is so. When we were done the books, we were just walking through the store, basically heading over to the register. And we passed by, there was some furniture, and on a table there was this old vintage typewriter. And so this is what's called an Underwood number 6. This is from 1936. I was able to find it. It took me a little bit to find out, identify it exactly. There's a little serial number hidden on the side here under the carriage. But this was sitting on the table, and I was like, wow, look at this. And, just my nerdy self. And so I'm sitting there like playing. I'm like, oh, checking all the keys work, but there's no tag on it. And one of the employees comes up. She's like, isn't that cool? And I said, it is really cool. Is it? I don't see any tag on it. Is it for sale? And she says, yeah, hold on a second. Let me go. And so she comes back. She goes, checks with the manager, and comes back out, and it says it's $20. And I was like, $20? It's like, okay. So I go, the thing is like super, super heavy. So I go in and get a cart and load it in the cart. I bring it up to the register. And when I go to buy it, I tell the guy there's no tag on it, but the woman said it was $20. And so he's looking for a tag. Another manager comes up and says, no tag. And he says, no, but he says it's $20. The manager's like, who says it's $20? She couldn't believe this thing was $20. And they went and checked with the woman, and she said she had checked with the head manager, and it was $20. So they gave it to me for $20. So I was really, really excited about this thing. I don't know. I haven't got a new ribbon for it to actually try to type on it, but I don't really care about that. It was just really cool as a decorative piece to have this vintage writer as like a typewriter. Just, as a reader and a novice writer myself, it was really cool to find this thing. So, all right. So that was everything we got. If I should run through them quick. Here, how do you say it? Uzumaki by Junji Ito, Jovas Angel by Sharon Shinn, Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence, Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry, Reading Lolita in Tehran by, I can't even hold this pile, it's so big, I can't get this much stuff. Reading Lolita in Tehran by Azar Nafisi, Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes, Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, Slade House by David Mitchell, and Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman. Ooh, that was a mouthful. And a vintage typewriter, an Underwood number 6. Okay, so, as always, thanks so much for watching. If you have read any of these and have any opinions on them, we would love to hear your thoughts, as always. If you're going to read any of these, let us know. Happy to hear that, too. If you know anything about this vintage typewriter, let us know about that. We don't know too much about it, actually. And if you don't want to leave anything substantive, of course, you can always leave Olive a puppy emoji in the comments. She always loves to see those. So we'll be back very soon. Like I said, we got more hauls. We also have another book review and announcement that is probably coming up next. But as always, thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time.